Hello, everyone. Give me 1 second. I want to just set us all up and we will get started. All right. So let me just get the link going. I'll just share it with you later. So I just wanted to go ahead first and foremost and put this link here, and I will pin that so that you have it. Okay, so first and foremost, hello, my name is Roxanne Wilson. It's so good to be back here on a live stream with you. I am the Senior Trainer for Enablement here at Penny, and we are really excited to share with you a little something today. We have the fantastic Nathan Lanky Phillips here today. Let me tell you a little about Nathan. He actually is a freestyle BMX rider, and he's done that for 19 years. 5 of those years, he was a professional. And 11 of those years, he actually was a coach and has been a coach and mentor for BMX. Pretty fantastic, right? Not only that, but he happens to run a direct sales business selling hemp herbals. He is very eager to talk with us today, and I'm very excited to bring him on. And while I do that, I want to tell you that he actually has an article that's being featured right here, right now on Penny. That's the link that I posted up there for you. So let me tell you about the article while I bring him on. The article he has written for us is called The Mindset for Success, Tips from High Performing Athletes. And it's all about diving into the actionable advice that you need to incorporate into your everyday business. Nathan, hello, and thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I got to know, at what time is it where you're at?
It is just ticked over 8:01 in the morning.
Well, top of the morning to you then. So it's Friday. So Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. What part of Australia are you in?
Brisbane.
Very
so
nice.
On the East Coast.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Are you a morning person, by the way?
I can be.
Okay. Today you are.
Today's a good day.
Awesome. Well, my first question I have to ask you is, where did the nickname Lanky come from?
Right. So I'm a taller fellow, 191 centimeters, or 6'3" in American terms. And when I was 12, I was about that thick. So just one of the guys down at the skate park, one of the oldest guys I know actually, he just called me Lanky and it stuck. And nice. So that's who I am now. And it's my brand now. It's my brand.
So you've embraced it for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
That's fantastic. What made you interested in sharing your story and your expertise with Penny?
Well, it was more that I love coaching and helping other people. Like it's been something that I've always done, even before I was actually paid for it. And sharing my knowledge with other people, I found it actually sharpens my edge too, because every time that you go through the process of explaining something to it, whether it's a trick, how to contact people, whatever it is, it hones my skills in such a way that I'm then able to, express these things clearer to more people. And so, well, on a selfish side, it helps me. On a better side, it helps everyone else. So we all win together.
I like that. That's a really good aspect. And it's a good call out to people who might be nervous about growing a team or coaching people, that really you're going to learn a lot out of it as well too.
Yeah, massively. If anything, just briefly, I learn more coaching people than what I do actually writing or doing things myself. It's all well and good to go and do the tutorials and all those sorts of things, but once you actually start teaching people, your skills just go straight up.
That's amazing. I agree with you. That's a really good call out. So let me ask you this. You're a BMX biker. You mentioned that you did it since you were young. How did you get into network marketing?
So it started back when, I think it was about 2014-ish, around there. I was still going overseas and riding internationally and things like that. But I started having a hint of thinking like, what comes next? And having done all that international riding, all the like coaching at home, like traveling and all that sort of stuff, there was a level of freedom that gave me that so many other people that I knew just did not have. They haven't had the chance to travel. They haven't had the chance to like run their own race at their own pace. And so I wanted to try and sort of see if I could find something that would, give me that freedom back. And it's been a journey. like to sort of establish, okay, who am I? Where's this potential? What industry will work for me? Because we all know that a 9 to 5 for some people just doesn't work. And when I actually found that network marketing was a thing and that it could give me back the time that I wanted, but then at the same time give me skills and literally level up like in a video game, I thought, okay, this is it. Let's see what I can achieve here.
That's fantastic. And I think it's a reminder to everyone that not everyone's meant for 9 to 5, and that's okay. You can find, and network marketing is that great place where you can find the freedom, like you mentioned earlier.
Or even a balance between the two.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you say your motivation is to be who you are today? Because I got to say, just so you know, I love the Olympics. I'm obsessed. So any sport that's in the Olympics, I'm just like, wow. So I'm talking to a BMX biker. I feel like you're an Olympian. That's just how it is. So what has motivated you to get to where you are today?
My desire is to not be who I was yesterday. I want to be better than who I was yesterday. I want to not live with what ifs. It's that, like, you do only get that single chance at who your best version of who you can be in this life is. I can't remember who it was that said it, but you've got 2 lives. The first is just as we are now. The second one starts when you realize you only have 1 life. And so using that is my inspiration to be the best that I can be and leave a legacy that will continue on after I'm gone, because there's 2 deaths. The first one is when you physically die. The second one is the last time your name is said. I don't want my name to ever stop being said.
Wow. That's deep. When did you realize that you have 2 lives? When did you have that awakening?
When I watched a video, it sort of put into words what I was feeling. It's like, oh, hang on a second. Yeah, it's like there's something going on here. So it was just an awareness, and then the video put it into words for me.
And you've lived your life that way ever since?
Pretty much. Ever since I got into writing, because every day I was like, I need to be better than this. I need to do more. I need to, how far can I take this? Where can I go? What can I achieve? Like, anything less than that, to me, I just feel it's a waste. Like, why even bother if you're not going to give it your 100%?
I think what you're describing is something that is definitely part of the psyche of a high performing athlete, right? You're always striving to be better and to do more. And it's what sets the different amateurs and those who are all about it differently. But I do think that in there's some similarities to that in network marketing, or at least there's things that we can learn from that. But I'm curious, when you think about the high performing athlete that you are and those that you coach, what is the difference that sets them apart from mass majority of people?
Never giving up. It's 100% the consistency. Like, I in myself am not overly talented. A lot of the kids that I have coached who've gone on to do good things are not overly talented. It's that they never give up. I never gave up. My title is I've been writing 19 years. There's very few people out there who can say they've even been writing for 5. And with that, so long as you're consistent every day, going out and doing just a little bit, that's enough. And you will beat the people who are naturally talented at this who quit in a couple of days. Like, that's the big thing. If you never stop, I've ended up being better writer than the people who are more talented than me, simply because I didn't stop and they did.
I feel like your message needs to be like on the billboard everywhere around the world, because that's so powerful. And it's a good reminder, right? You think, oh, I may not be the most talented person in the room, but you don't have to be. You just have to be the person who keeps consistently going.
No, you don't.
That's beautiful. So how important would you say having a strong mindset is to network marketing?
Oh, yeah, you need one of those. Like, the thing is, your boat will be rocking under the winds of other people's opinions no matter where you go. And if you let them blow you wherever you want, you will never achieve what you want to achieve, because your destination might be here, but all of a sudden you're being pushed that way by someone's desire for your life. And they may have your best interests at heart, but that isn't going to help you achieve your goal. Like, obviously, if it's pushing you in the direction you want to go, listen to it. But you got to stay focused on what you want, what you need. And so having that end game in mind, that's really where you need to stick to it. You need to have a strong mindset as far as being pulled towards where you want to go. So I suppose apologize for, say, hurting people's feelings, apologize for not like resonating with them the way that they might not want. Like, obviously apologize for it. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, but at the same time, don't apologize for who you are and where you're going, because this is your journey and your story.
That's beautiful. You know, I think that people, when people join network marketing, it's an exciting time, but it's also a little terrifying, right? And
Yeah.
and I always say that network marketing very much is like anything you haven't worked on that you think, oh, I'll just not worry about that part of myself, comes like a mirror, and you are forced to like look at it and deal with it as you may.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. It pulls out the best and worst in you.
It does, but there's an opportunity there for sure as well too.
If you're willing to recognize it.
If you're willing to recognize it. Huge. So what advice would you give to someone who's in network marketing? They're constantly stressed or overwhelmed with all of the tasks and all the things that they have to juggle.
Well, the first thing is you break them down into levels of importance. I wrote this down. Start with the most pressing, most urgent issue. Then move, and you can sort of balance these two, to the less pressing but most urgent, but then the most pressing and less urgent. If you can delegate anywhere in there, do so. And then finally, the least pressing, least urgent ones, put them to the side. They're almost like a wish list. So when you can balance those four, I'll say it again, most pressing, most urgent, number 1. 2 and 3, less pressing, more urgent, and more pressing, less urgent. And then the last one, which if you get to it, you get to it, is less pressing, less urgent. Then it's simply, with the time that you have available to the individual tasks, do the best that you can in that moment for that task that you have there. If your best effort that you have with that single task is only 80%, do the full 100% of that 80%. Don't tap out at, say, 80% of that 80%, because then you'll feel like, oh, I haven't done enough. I didn't do it well enough. But if you gave it your everything for all that time that you had, you can walk away satisfied and say, hey, I did my best.
Mm-hmm. So good. So basically categorize what you have to get done, and then do the most important things in the order that you listed off. And don't even worry about the things. What I love about what you said is that when we start to categorize things, we can realize, oh, that thing that I thought was a big deal, it was really not a big deal. I don't even need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it might be a big deal, but it's something you can do tomorrow.
Absolutely. Not as pressing, which helps with that stress and overwhelm. Those are great pieces of advice.
Yes.
And these are inside your article. So people are like, wait a moment, I didn't get all that written down. That's another reason to read the article.
Oh, good.
So question for you about attitude. What is the attitude that you think network marketers should have before beginning their day?
Well, I think it's always have the expectation that it can get better. If the day's off to a cracking start, then hell yeah, it's going to get to be a good day. And if it starts off rubbish, the cat runs under your feet, you have an argument with your other half, or I don't know, you walk outside and there's dog poo on the front yard, like, it can only get better from there, right? So take that and just think, if there's always an opportunity that it can get better. There is more that can happen. And if you focus on the good is what you'll see. If you focus on the bad is what you'll see.
That's so true. And I think it's something, if anyone's listening to that going, really? Is it really that simple? It actually really is. Like, if you really focus on seeing the good things, or for example, you look at a picture and say, I'm going to look at for the purple. You'll see all of the purple. Like when you buy a new car and all of a sudden you're like, everyone has my car on the road. Those cars were always there, but you're focused on it now. The mind is a very interesting thing for sure.
Very fascinating.
You talk about the war is won before the battle begins. Can you unpack that a little bit as well too?
Of course. We'll start that with the BMX side of things, because that's sort of where I started recognizing it. Now, with riding, say if you're going up to do a new trick or something like that, say let's take a backflip. Backflip is sort of like that big boy trick that steps you into that next world of ability, I guess. Now, the backflip, it's not something that you can half-heart. It's an all-or-nothing trick. You can build up to it slowly by sort of landing on your back wheel, but then there's a tipping point where it's absolutely all or nothing, because if you land on your head, it hurts. So in that, it's that you got to visualize the end outcome before you even drop in. You want to crash in your head. You want to see and play out the various different ways that it can go before you even drop in. Like, run the situation through your head, run the scenario through your head. You've got your desired outcome, but then you want to think on the flip side, what's an undesired outcome? How don't I want this to turn out? Play that through, feel out the sensations, the motions, the speed, whatever it is that got you to that point where you failed, and then you can know what to avoid. Now, that's not to say that you're going to get it right every time, but you can cut down enormous amounts of effort and pain if you simply play the trick out through your mind. And so that can be done the same, say, in like with your network marketing. And so if you're talking on a stage, if you've got a phone call to make, if you're, I don't know, hosting a live like we are right now, it's a matter of, okay, how do I want this to play out in my mind? Give yourself a little script, read it out to yourself in a mirror. Like, play it back, visualization and understanding exactly what it is that you want before you even get to that situation is perfect, because you're never going to be able to perfectly get to the end game with a preconceived set of steps. If things go haywire, that's just life. It's chaos theory. However, if you know where you're going, if you know what the end game is and you've got that end plan in mind, you can navigate through the steps with a goal in mind, and you can be attracted to that final destination, and you will play off your own, say, conversations or experiences or whatever like that that will help you get to that final point.
I feel like we're getting a major coaching session right now, because what you're talking about, I know, is second nature for you because you grew up with BMX. But I think for a lot of network marketers, the concept of visualizing all of the outcomes, right, and working through them and really kind of problem solving. What if this happened? What would I do here? That's something that is pretty foreign, I think, but is so very powerful.
It is. Like, don't even just focus on the positives either. You've got to consider both sides of the spectrum. You want to see how it doesn't work. You want to understand, okay, that hurts. I don't want to go that way. That's not a good outcome. So that way you can use the pain of that failure in your mind to avoid that into success. By the way, shout out to Colonel and Chris Edgar. They just popped on.
I know you're getting a lot of love in there. I saw that. Yeah. That's phenomenal. So let me ask you this. Okay. What does this quote mean to you? I'm going to do the best I can with what's in front of me in the time given.
Yeah, I like that one. That one I came up with in aftermarket sales. So it was came about from a very, very hard time at work, and it was the way that I used to alleviate the stress from that time.
So you used to say that repeatedly? Every
time I walked down to someone, I'd go down, the first thing I'd say is so my job, so I'm still a part-time car sale, aftermarket car salesman, so window tints, dash cameras, things like that. And so the first thing I say when I'm going down to meet a guest is, let's go down, make some friends. No sales. Let's go down, make some friends. Let's enrich this person in such a way that they will walk away from me feeling better for it, even if they buy nothing. Then in the industry of car sales, I work under Toyota branch, and Toyota's enormous. So there is a lot of pressure sometimes where I'm the only aftermarket salesman. I've got a team of 7 salesmen who have to funnel through me before they go to the business managers, and there's 3 business managers, and so these are the guys that do the finance, take deposits, and that. So you've got a funnel at me to go into the business managers. So it can get pretty tight on a busy day when you're doing 20 deals. Mm-hmm. So I might only have, say, 10 to 15 minutes with someone to try and sell them a pack that's worth $4,000 on their car. So to most people, that's pretty daunting. And it's the truth. The work that I do is not for everyone. Not everyone can do it because it is very hard and high stress. When it's down, it's actually very quiet. When it's up, it's stupidly busy. And so you can be built up and tense, like, oh, there's too much to do, and you freak out. But that's where that saying came into it. It's that I have no control over the outcome of whether this person decides to buy or not to buy. That is not my place to, I suppose, obsess over. That's not my decision. This is the customer's decision. This is their experience. This is their journey. This is their sale. I'm simply here to offer them a service that I believe could help them. And so in doing that, what I did was I started thinking, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. So my absolute 100%, even if it's only 50%, my whole 50%, I'm going to do the best I can with what's in front of me. So whoever this person is, if they're closed and they don't want to borrow me, they're like, get out my face. I don't care. Put me in with the business manager. Okay, I've done my 100%. It was 1%, but I did my 100%. I showed up. And then in the time given, I might have 3 deals sitting at my desk waiting for me. And the salesmen are breathing down my neck going, we need you to hurry up. And I go, okay. I've got 5 minutes with this person that I've got to go and see, and then make that adjustment and that decision. Okay, how far am I willing to push this person? How far am I willing to actually dive into the products? Make that on-the-spot decision of this person in front of me, who are they? Are they someone that's actively engaged with me? Are they working with me? Is this something that I'm actually getting some reciprocity from? If they are, cool. I am willing to waste a bit more time with them because there's more potential here. If there's nothing and they're feeding me nothing, mate, that's perfectly fine. I've got another 3 deals. Here's the business manager. I got to go. So be very cut and dry with them. And if it's dead quiet, spend 20 minutes with them. And so using those 3 barometers, you can help yourself do your absolute best. And if you walk away from something and you've absolutely sucked, at least you can say, hey, I did my best. And that takes all the pressure off your shoulders.
You basically just detach yourself from the outcome, but you come in full you, giving all that you've got to it.
That's it. That's it. Take control of your controllables.
You have all these sayings. I'm just, I want to write them down, but I'm going to watch this after because they're really fantastic. and I think it's, it's so important because I can see that mindset is a big thing for you and has been for a long time.
Huge, because you don't get to be an Olympic athlete with a weak mindset.
So true. Do you find that that's something when you bring on new team members to your network marketing team? Do you find that they already have that mindset, or are they coming because they want to get some of that from you?
I give everyone the opportunity equally, regardless of where they are. I let them decide where they want to be. If they engage actively, I think one of my team members is on here at the moment. Hey, Cody. If they actively engage with me, if they're giving me the right signals to say, okay, yeah, I'm pushing. I want to be more. They're asking questions. They're flooding my inbox. Like they're giving me that, I suppose, that desperation, that absolute hunger. Then yeah, I'll feed into them and I'll give them that. But if they don't, I'm not going to want it more for them than what they want it for themselves. Mm-hmm. So a relationship is 200%. It's not just 100%. A relationship is 200%. And you've got 100% from both parties. Now, at the beginning, the person that you're trying to help might only be like 75%. They don't know how to fully give everything that you can give. Like they can't give everything because they don't know everything. So you got to make up that extra 35, like 75, 25%. And so with that, you got to overcompensate that little bit just to help them to make up that full 200%. The problem is when they start pulling back and they start not giving you as much. If you overcompensate, you start giving 150%. If you start giving 170%, that's when you start being clingy. That's when you start being overprotective. That's when you start desiring things more for them than what they do. And they step back and just go, nah, you're too much, go away. They can't handle it. So I'm sort of willing to give up to about that 120%. Like, okay, yeah, look, how are you going? Have you done the tasks that I set you? Are you willing to actually like step forward? Like, do you want to come up, meet me at the 100%? And if they're not, well, best of luck to you. If you want to come back to me, that's fine. Until that point, I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep building our team. But if you want to be a part of this, show me.
You know, I think that's such a great mindset to have, because a lot of times people go for the, I'm going to give 180%, or I'll do the 200 for the person. And really, that's not a good experience for you or for the team member that you have on.
No, you burn out if that's the case. So yeah, if you're giving 200%, that is totally unsustainable. Totally unsustainable. Like if it's a crisis situation where someone's sick or in hospital or they've broken a leg or something like that, like, yeah, compensate for the 200% for like a week or two. Like, that's fine. You can do that. But long term with multiple people, you die, you end up salty, nothing works, and everything falls apart.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Tell us about breaking the pattern and why it's so important to accomplishing a daunting task.
Very good. So with that one, again, coming back to BMX, this is a fun one, and we'll come back to the backflip as well. Now, I've spoken with kids, I've taught kids who get in their own heads, looping around how they can or can't successfully complete the backflip. And they'll sit there and they'll drop in, they'll jump, they'll drop in and jump. So this usually happens more when they're taking it to their first jump on a resi, which is like a padded mat. Think like a gymnastics mat, but with plastic over the top. And so a lot of the times when they get stuck in that loop, they will sit and they will obsess and they will focus and they will stress over this. And the more that they stress on it, the less likely they actually are going to do it, because they're bounding up all that negative energy, that stress within themselves, and they're not releasing it. So whenever something like that happens, when I see a kid that's starting to bind, and usually if it's not just straight jumping a jump and they're not doing the trick, it's that their performance starts decreasing. They might be increasing to a point, and then they'll actually start getting worse. I say, stop, let's go do something else, because that way you can release that energy. I tell them, go, ride, do something else, 5 minutes, go away, get away. I don't want to talk to you. Go, clear your mind. And when they come back, if they're in the right mindset, then we can try again. And generally, they've released that pent-up tension and they can come back and try it again successfully. So with network marketing, that's the same thing. If you're staring at the screen going, I need to call this person, I need to call this person, I need to call this person, that downward tone, that sloping the shoulders, that pattern, I need to call this person. You're never going to do it. You're going to sit there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes just going, and not do anything, and you achieve nothing. You are unsuccessful in that time. So go away, waste 5 minutes. You'd rather waste 10 minutes walking around the house, chatting to your mum, just about, hey, what's for lunch? Because when you come back in that next 10 minutes, you've broken the pattern, you can give it another try. And if you can recognize that it's not going to work, move on to the next task. Who cares if you don't contact that person today? That's fine. Call someone else. Message someone else. Do another task on your daily method of operation that you can 100% successfully achieve, because that way you've done something, you've got that sense of satisfaction. And once you've got that, then you can move on to a harder task. Because if you just obsess over the one thing, you'll waste all day, do nothing, feel disgusting for it, and then you'll beat yourself up. And the following day, you won't do anything because you feel disgusting and sit in bed eating ice cream or something like that.
Ice cream's not bad, but I hear you. It's moving forward instead of sitting still. And even if you do something else, it's moving forward and getting out of that feeling.
Breaking that pattern.
Breaking that pattern. I like that so much. So I love to ask this next question, which is, okay, we have network marketers who are watching live now. We have those who are going to be watching the recording. And what would you say to them? Like, what's your elevator pitch of why they should read your article?
Read my article? Well, for me, anyone who's in this industry wants to get better. I want to help you get better, not just within this industry, but within all of your life, with every area of your life. So within this, I've given you some great stress relief tactics that will work in any situation for any person. So you definitely want to go and have a look at this. I believe the link is down the bottom there. It's a pinned comment. Go and have a read of it. You might not be in network marketing. That's totally fine. But whatever it is in that area that you are finding high levels of stress in, you'll definitely want to go and have a look at this.
Phenomenal. What's the biggest takeaway you hope people get from it?
From this, it's that they relax, that the tension washes off their shoulder a bit more, that they now have a coping mechanism in words with clear instructions on how to actually let go, so that they can breathe, so that they can, okay, so I don't have to try and do everything at 100%. I don't have to clean. So if you can, if whoever ends up going to this link, that would be amazing. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know. Shoot me a DM. Whatever you have to do. Let me know how well this helps. I love hearing these sorts of things. I love hearing those stories that people have come back and said, this has helped me, because that means what I've done has worked. And in a selfish way, it means, okay, I can keep doing this because it's working. No point doing something that doesn't work.
I think that's so important, because I know with network marketing, as in life in general, there's parts that are just so like those euphoric highs where things are going really well. But then there's those moments where it just can be very stressful. And so I encourage everyone to read the article, because it's going to give you, like you said, the practical in writing things to do to relax more, so that those lows and those anxious moments don't feel as anxious or as low.
Yeah. Yeah. Mellow out.
So we here at Penny, of course, we're all about getting and encouraging action for network marketers. So I'm curious, what is one thing that those watching today can implement in their daily life after getting off this conversation?
To help create action?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is having a daily plan. Understanding what you want to do before you actually reach that point. So how many people have you got to follow up? How many people are you contacting? Who are you contacting? How are you finding them? You got to know what you got to do, because if you sit there with no idea, you've lost. Like there was actually, I can't remember who it was that said it, but they said, if you don't know what you're doing today, you've already lost. Mm. And that hit me so hard, because at that time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll do this today. But then, no, that slapped me in the face, and I was like, oh, bugger me. It's so true, because on those days where you haven't got a plan, where you don't know what you're doing, how productive are you? How successful are you? How much do you actually accomplish? Because you've got this scattered attention of putting energy into thinking about what you need to do, as well as then actually doing it. If you can put all your attention in one point, even if you spend half an hour in the morning not doing anything, and focusing on what the tasks are that you need to do today, and establishing those goals for the day, those target markets for the day. If you can do that, then for the rest of the day, you know what you got to do. If you sit back and go, oh, what's next? Oh yeah, let's do that. And then you can tick it off, and then you get that rush of dopamine because, hey, I just achieved my goal. You're feeling pumped. Life is good. You can get out there. And then when you're finished, you're finished. You're not sitting there thinking, oh, what else is there I have to do? You can put it down and you can go away. You can go for the run in the afternoon. You can go and have lunch with your friends. You can go and watch that movie at night time because you've earned it. You've done your work for the day. You can shut down. If you don't have that, you can't shut down because you're always left wondering, what if, what about that, what about that? Because you don't know and you don't have that structure.
That is huge. I do need to mention, just remind everyone, of course, with Penny, we have the daily. So if you open up Penny for your network marketing business,
That has helped me massively.
Yay. So check that out for those who haven't yet. But what you said about unplugging is so important. I think that that's so true. Like if we don't know what we were set out to do for the day, we don't know when we're done. And if you don't know when you're done, then you just keep spinning and spinning. You can't actually unplug. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you get into bed at night time and you're still ticking. And so you can't go to sleep. You have a rubbish sleep. You wake up the next morning feeling fatigued and gross. You're off to a bad start.
Spiraling. It goes on and on and on. Okay, I got two questions for you. One question is, what are your future plans?
Well, I've got my goals all up here. So I want to become the #1 distributor in Australia. I want to change the way riders are paid. Because we know riders do not get paid enough. They do not get paid well enough for the efforts that they put in. So I want to help change that. I want to be the reason a distribution warehouse for my company opens up in Australia. I want to help 1 million people in some way, shape or form. Being able to get down in front of them and just go, look, you are capable of doing this. You can achieve what you're wanting to do. I can help you do that, whether that's in life, business, whatever it is. And then I want to, big goal here, I want to have a hand in training up someone who earns $1 million a week. Phenomenal. So I was lucky enough to complete a big life goal of mine in that I wanted to train up one of the best girl riders in the world. Her name's now Natalia Dean. I met her when she was 15. I was doing a coaching clinic way up north in Queensland. And through the journey of us, she's now 20-something, I helped her get to the point where she was Australia's first women's representative in the Olympics.
Wow.
So I was able to tick that off. And so if a goal that big that I had really no idea if I'd ever achieve, I can achieve, then why not put something that large up there too? $1 million a week. I want to be the hand in someone who does that. Doesn't have to be the first person, but just someone who earns $1 million a week.
That is phenomenal. And there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to hit those goals. So when you do, you need to circle back with us and let us know.
Yeah, of course.
Please do. Okay, so the other question I have for you is, did you have a fall? Were you riding? Did you fall yesterday? I saw that on your stories. I hadn't.
Yesterday, no, that was Wednesday. So Tuesday, your time. Yeah, I had a big crash. I'm okay, but I still haven't got the clips. I'm waiting on the clip, but it was a big trick anyway. It was on the top of a ramp, probably about 12 foot high, I think. And so on one side there's a nice gentle slope. On the other side it was just a flat drop. And so I hit it and fell off the flat drop side and landed and splat.
And you're telling us this smile, like, and it's all okay. This is how we know you're like a high performing athlete. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're like, I'm fine, and you'll probably get back on the bike again in no time.
Here's something that'll I was immediately up. Here's something that will help you. You've got to learn how to crash. Being a high level athlete is not about all the tricks you can do. It's not about landing every single go perfectly. It's knowing how to crash so that you can get up and try again. Because if you crash wrong, you get hurt. There are people who can sprain their ankles or break their legs walking downstairs. I fell off the top of a ramp that's 12 foot tall and I ended up with a little pulled neck. I can fall from great heights and land and be okay because I learned how to crash. And that is a very important thing. So whether this is, say, in network marketing, and so you say you got up for a live and you absolutely blew it, know how to crash, bang, land on your feet. That was good. I stuffed up. Let's try that again. Be okay with that failure, because when you fail, it gives you the opportunity to learn and go back and do it right. obviously you want to visualize it first and try and not fail, because invariably you can crash and burn. And I mean, there are instances where I have been hurt very badly, and that's generally in situations where I have not been expecting the crash. But if you do know how to crash, it's going to save you a whole lot of pain coming in the future.
You know what I love about this conversation is I know we're talking about BMX, but you're telling us about life. And so it's brilliant and beautiful in that way. And I imagine not only learning how to crash physically, but how to crash mentally and be able to get back up again as well too.
Yeah, like be okay with failing. Be okay with getting angry. Be okay with being frustrated. Be okay with crying, with venting, with getting that out of your system. The reason I say that is because your emotions are almost like the colors that you paint your life's canvas with. And if you only try and focus on the positives, then you're missing out on so many colors, because you still need the blues and the blacks and the grays to shade your life. But then on the other side, if you only focus on the negatives, you're missing all the colors, the bright reds, the greens, the blues, not the blues, light blues, whatever, to give your life pop. So if you can fully embrace the whole spectrum and not feel guilty for feeling one way or the other, but simply embrace it in that moment, you live life more fully. And so by doing that, you're able to then take those experiences not as a bad experience or a good experience, but just an experience that's going to paint your canvas of life. And at the end of your life, you're going to have a very, very, very beautiful canvas that you have painted that you can leave behind to other people to help inspire them to do more and to be more for their lives when it's their turn.
You had a goal of inspiring 1 million people, and I just want you to know that you have definitely inspired everyone on this call today. So you can add that to the number that you're going for. I do want to take a moment, and I know we have questions, so let me go ahead and work through these. The first question is, what does your day look like when working on your business? How do you structure it?
All right, so I open up Penny. I know that. I open up Penny. And so I start going through, I start going through my follow-ups. Generally, my follow-up is where I get started. If I don't have new leads, because I do have like some lead generation things going on, otherwise it's the leads that I get to first. And so that's just messaging them, hey, how can I help you? What can I do for you today? How can I serve you? I then enter them into Penny, so I've got them there for the follow-up. Full disclosure, I am not perfect. Some days I do miss it, but it is what it is. That being said, then from there, I'm actually doing a challenge with a few of my teammates at the moment, and it's a 5-5-5. And so 5 new friends on Facebook, 5 new follow-ups, 5 new conversations. And this one comes from Eric Warray. All business is conversation. So the conversations that you're opening up aren't even anything special. It's literally just, hey, how you going? Or using the birthday feature on Facebook, happy birthday. Happy birthday. And people go, oh, hey, how you going? Thanks for the happy birthday. Yeah, beautiful. Hey, how have you been? It's been ages since we've spoken. Bang, conversation open, put them in your follow-up, and then that's your 5 for the next day. And that's your 5 for the next day. And so just building up on it like that, it helps you open up conversation, because if you feel stuck, if you feel like business isn't moving, if you feel like I'm not going anywhere, you want to know why? It's because you're not talking to people. You could have the best company, the best compensation plan, the best product, the best whatever you want. If you don't tell anyone, it's going nowhere. Think about it like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, obviously, pinnacle of pop. If he didn't promote, if he didn't go out, and if he didn't put his albums out, if he didn't have people talking about it, he would be nowhere. He wouldn't be who he is today, because no one would have heard about it. So you need to get talking.
Brilliant. Thank you. Next question is, what advice do you have for someone who's struggling with getting out of their comfort zone to try new systems and ways to succeed?
Start with something 15% outside of your comfort zone. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday talking about goal settings and things like that. And in trying to, I suppose, improve yourself, about 15%, like, I mean, how do you judge that? But 15% outside of your comfort zone is right about perfect. That's where you're actually going to be able to push into without feeling like things are going to be fracturing. If you are, I suppose, struggling with even making that first step, try and find someone to help hold you accountable. Accountability is huge because, like, even this for me right now, it's keeping me accountable to know everything that I need to know to be able to impart to you guys. So get a team around you. Try and set up like your daily method of operating. Mucking up my words there. Because when you know what you got to do, then you can actually step into it. And if something is simply too hard, find the smallest 100% achievable task that you can do. Something as simple as posting a Facebook or Instagram story. Just that. It doesn't even have to be related to your business or anything like that. You could literally just, like, I mean, with the story that I put up the other day, it's like, hey guys, I go way too hard on my bike sometimes. I hurt my neck. This thing stopped my neck hurting. I don't know how it works, but it works. Like, I didn't promote any product. I didn't have any call to action in there. It was literally just, this works. So something small and achievable that takes no effort and puts no pressure on yourself can be enough to get the ball rolling, because what does everyone talk about? Momentum, momentum, momentum. So if you've got momentum there and you can start rolling off those smaller tasks, eventually can work up to something bigger.
Brilliant. Such great advice. Thank you. This is a shout out actually. Frankenstein FPV says you were the man, Lanky. Great man doing great things. God bless, bro. So I want to make sure I put that up so you see that as well too.
That's Chris Edgar. He is one of the OG BMX riders from Beanley. He was the first person I ever saw try and do a double backflip. And he got absolutely wrecked, but so many props for him trying it. There was no foam pit, no resi, no nothing. Literally just at a box, full send, just pulled, got destroyed, but the balls on that man is just unreal. And yeah, now he flies those, like the drones with the like the goggles and those sorts of things. Go check his page out. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. I'll have to check that out. And I have to tell you, I told you I love the Olympics. So I feel like I'm an expert during the Olympics at every sport, and then it goes out of my head and it comes back. So I'll be watching extra carefully this next go around with BMX freestyle. Okay, there was one more question. Let me grab that. Okay, so the question is, do you believe in talent that will make you successful, or hard work and consistency, which you kind of answered earlier?
Yeah, well, I mean, take Logan Martin, who's the current world's best. He was definitely talented, but his hard work and his consistency is what took him to that next level. You may have both. You might have only talent. You might have only hard work. But so long as you're consistent, that's where you're going to win. So, and it's not just consistent like showing up to the webinars and then going, and then coming in and listening to people talk and then going. It's got to be productive activity, productive consistency.
See, now you're being picky.
Yes, I'm being very picky. So it's like people can talk about, I've been so busy today. I've been so busy. What did you do? I watched a video on someone who talked about how they made $1 million. I was in the webinar where they're talking about the new products. And then I went and I wrote a blog post for myself to put up later. It's a draft. How many people have you spoken to? How many conversations have you started? You've got to be productive, not just busy. If you're busy, you're running around in circles. If you're productive, you're heading for a specific destination. And so if you're consistent with productive work, then you know that you're moving in the right direction. Then you will be successful. And yes, you will have to make some adjustments on the way. You'll learn some things. You'll have to unlearn some things. But so long as you're always moving forwards every day, being that 1% better than you were yesterday, being better than yourself, you'll eventually make it. Whether it takes 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like, put it this way. Are you willing to suck for 10 years if in 10 years you're guaranteed $10 million a year for the rest of your life?
I'd say yes.
How big is your goal? Because if you feel like you're being unproductive and you're procrastinating, it simply means your goal isn't big enough to draw you towards it. Think about it like this. If I said, hey, run up and down the street 5 times, I'll give you $10. A lot of people are like, I can't be bothered. I say, run up and down the street 5 times, I'll give you $1,000. So, okay, now let's go. See how that changes? It's the mindset. So if you're struggling to achieve something, you've got to have something at the end big enough for you to pull you towards it, even when you're feeling unmotivated.
That's so good. And it's a good check for us all to ask ourselves, what are our goals and is it big enough? If it's not big enough, then it's time to retool that goal and see what that does for us.
Yeah, it's got to be a realistic one. Like, obviously, if you're like, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to make $1 million this year. If you're making $500, probably a bit unrealistic. That can be a good long-term goal, but it's got to be, you've got to be focused on that point. But then this actually came up yesterday, and it's that it's not always about focusing on the positives. Negativity drives harder than positivity. If someone gives you a pat on the back and says, hey, well done, you just did a good job in X subject, you're like, okay, yeah, that feels pretty good. Then you just chuff along. If someone comes up and goes, bang, you suck, you failed, don't do that, whoa, you get a rush. It's like touching a hot stove. You are not going to do that again because it's scalded. So if in your mind, when you're thinking about your goals, like you obviously want to focus on like the desired outcome, you want to know where you're going, but at the same time, you need to think, if I fail, what happens? If I don't succeed, what does that mean for my family? If I stuff up, does that mean I'm on a couch? Does that mean my team collapses? Does that mean that I fail? If you focus on that and then use that as the scalding hot plate to jettison you in the other direction, that will keep you so much more focused.
Wow. Yeah, I don't love negativity, but I also love realism. And so I hear you when you say that, because if you think about the reality of, it's great to say, I want the castle and whatever it is, but what if you don't get the castle? What will your life be like then?
Yep. Because there is that toxic positivity thing
totally
going around where it's like everything's rainbows and your life's rubbish. No, you got to be real. You got to think about the positives and the negatives. Life is the whole spectrum. It's not just one or the other. Everything ties together. So if you can use not just the goal of where you want to go, but then also use the repulsion of where you don't want to go, you're going to have a double tug in the right direction.
I like that. Fantastic. Nathan, can I call you Lanky?
Of course, everyone does.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for this conversation and for your time. I want to encourage everyone to read his article. Again, the name of the article happens to be The Mindset for Success, Tips for High-Performing Athletes. And it is on the Penny website. The link is pinned, or if you're watching this later, just go to the link in the bio to get it and to read up on it. I also encourage you to follow Nathan's journey, not only in network marketing, but also in the world of BMX. And you can do that by going to Lanky BMX 360 right here on Instagram. And he has also said, DM him, because I know he'd be happy to respond to you. So if there's any thoughts or you want to continue this conversation with him, I encourage you to do that.
Please do. Please do. I love hearing from everyone. I don't care if you're at the bottom or at the top. Everyone is equal. Everyone has an intrinsic value as a human that cannot be rejected. So if you message me, you're getting a response.
Love that. Thank you so much. And as we say here at Penny every day, is a big day. So we hope you make today a big day.
Every day's a great day.
Every day is a great day and a big day. I love it. We'll take both of those. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Bye.